Which telly?
This is Telly.
What telly? Introduce yourself.
Olly, I work for a consultancy and we do some work with soil health.
Okay. And introduce these fine men.
Oh, they precede me. This is the policy brain and that's the media guy. That's how I introduce them. The dynamic duo. This is Martin. Martin, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Martin. I'm from Herefordshire.
Farmer extraordinaire.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah. And then this is the noisy one.
The media guy.
This is the noisy one. He does the brains, he does the media.
Yeah.
Not that the two never intersect.
And they're doing a rather good job.
They are. They definitely have, I think, become the new influencers, even though we don't like that term anymore. They are definitely the people who are making the noise, the right kind of noise that counts.
Okay, and talking of noise, we made a bit of a noise at the last video that we did at Cereals, putting that positively behind us. With everything that's going on with politics and the issues that the government are having at the moment, where they're having to capitulate and do various U-turns, do you think is it going to come our way in respect of inheritance tax?
I think it'd be fantastic if it did, and I think we can spin that two ways, can't you? You can be really angry about it and say how wretched it is that they made mistakes in the first place, but you can spin it that actually it's a good thing that they're listening to the people that need to be listened to. I think that's where we need to be.
I'm just a bit annoyed with the whole U-turn and them getting cast eyes for it, when really it should be like, oh, good, they've understood the constituents, they've understood the concerns, they've listened, they've changed their mind.
Yeah.
They're not getting praised for it, they're getting beaten about it. And
the media picking on it left, right and centre, which I think is a bit silly, but there we go.
I'm a little bit more circumspect about whether it's going to come our collective way, because Treasury has already now had two massive resolutions that's employing a hole in their sort of forecast budget. I think they think that Labour probably aren't as amenable to moving on IHT, so I think it's up to farming to try and make its pitch to the government about why rural communities depend on farming.
Okay. I said this to ask the guys at Cereals. What do you need from us? What do you want from everyone dialed in? What do you want from all your contacts? You go first.
I would love to see a bigger pitch made to the public about why agriculture matters, not just to the sector.
Yeah. Okay, gents.
I'd like to see people being more outward looking and looking for export and positivity based on a value of brand, rather than being worried about everything that comes into the country. We've got to look wider.
And as someone who used to work on trade and government, I wholeheartedly endorse that. I think that other countries are very good at pushing their interest into other markets, the US, New Zealand, Australia. I think farming here tends to worry a little bit too much about, as you said, what's coming in, and not enough about how they can sell themselves outward beyond just the UK.
And what I loved about that piece that we did at Cereals, to me these guys they're very collaborative. It's not war, it's jaw.
Yeah.
You can understand that the government needs to raise income in the way of taxes, but perhaps in other ways. And here it comes, we've got to hashtag feed the nation, and that's what these guys do.
Yeah, the one thing I disagree with Ali on is the principles of why perhaps the government could look at IHT again, and it would be great to think that the revenue piece has shown that it's not actually raising the revenue that they expected, and they could raise more by doing it in a different way. And the farming community has shown they're willing to do that. It's just the way that it's been put out now at the moment that is so unpalatable. And so let's have a conversation.
Well, efficient farming is something that everyone can support, right? And I think one of the issues with IHT is it's not helping with the investment narrative that basically farmers need to do. So if you can talk about IHT plus everything else with government and be constructive, yes, to stakeholders to engage with, I think you'll get a big second audience. If it's just IHT, I think it becomes a little difficult.
There's a vision piece. The whole of agriculture needs to look at itself, really. We're not the best in the world at lots of things. We need to look at ourselves and be honest. And be honest.
Well, wrap up first.
Well, we need brand Britain, we need to be going, I don't want to use their words, but further and faster. But if we're moaning for the status quo that we had 10 years ago, that was still rubbish. We need to be in a better place. And look at Holland, the amount of stuff that they export for the size of it. The second biggest export of agricultural products, and it's tiny. If we can have a brand Britain that goes to further shores, people have got more money than us, that's better. And if they want to bring cheap rubbish in from somewhere else to feed people cheaply, then they can do. But what we produce on our farm, and most people produce this show, it's got a higher value, and we need to capitalise on that. And everything that we bring in as well also is money leaving our economy. So if we can feed ourselves first and then export the surplus, that I think will work.
Team, well done. A rose between two thorns.
Indeed.
Well
Take care.
Oh, and the other thing, is he still going? The other thing is listen to something the other day in New Zealand, they were talking about their natural capital with the fact that they get rainfall, they've got soil, and they get a bit of sunshine for growing wheat. So do we. So producing them products here should be better than anywhere else.
The final word, always the final word.
Last and final.
Well done.
There you
Well
go.
done, team.